So do you know where you want to go? So this episode is not so much about where you're going to go in your life, but where are you going to go in your artwork. I'm going to talk about how you can improve your artwork with a better plan. And I'm going to try and answer part of the question about why some artists are just amazing. So are you the sort of artist that likes to sort of develop their ideas as they're going and maybe start off and then change things around, move things around a bit more? I would say that's about 95% of my students have that sort of approach. Rather than doing any planning, they get straight into it, they finish off their piece and then they go back to the planning because you kind of need that for the coursework element, the marks. But it's kind of a pointless exercise at that point, so they're just doing it for the sake of jumping through hoops to get the grade. What I'm going to argue is that that's a bad state of mind to be in as an artist. I think you've got to have some sort of strong vision about where you're going to go with your piece, and therefore your work will be more fluid, more structured, and you'll get to the finish point much faster with a better result. So I'm working on a scene at the moment. I'm doing a Halloween scene. It started off just being an autumn landscape, but I thought actually this might work well for Halloween. And I've got a competition on, a Halloween competition, so I thought I'd almost give it a go as well. It's always a good idea as a teacher, when you've set work, have a go at it yourself. Then you can kind of see the struggles that your students are going through. Of course, in this case, I'm not the teacher, I'm just a competition organiser, but I will be reviewing some of the pieces. Anyway, at the start of this scene, I did set up a mood board, and I was strongly influenced by Gary Walton, who's got some really impressive work, and I thought I'd mimic his style in 3D. And then I got a bit stuck, because when I got to the sky, it just wasn't quite working, the composition and layout wasn't working together, and I kind of had too many ideas for the sky, and it really wasn't working out as well as I'd imagined. So at that point I went back to my planning and started thinking about how I wanted the sky to look. Now that's fine, to keep going back to your planning, refining it, updating it, there's no problem there. But I thought to myself, this project's going very slowly and it's taking me a long time. What are the problems? And when I thought about it more, I was relying too much on the image that I had on my mood board and not really designing the sketch myself, because you can't just take someone else's work and put it into 3D. You have to develop it and you have to bring other ideas in as well. And that's how you make things unique, and you develop ideas and you develop as an artist. It's no good just copying other people's work. And that was my fundamental problem. I'd never sketched out any ideas, I'd never sketched out any compositions. And if I'd had that from the start, I think my workflow would have been a lot smoother and quicker. And I kept reaching points where I was stuck because I had no reference image to apply. So if I'd just done a quick couple of sketches, I would be there. And I wouldn't have had to keep stopping my workflow in order to think about what should go here, where should this chimney go, and so forth. So that pre-production or planning phase is actually really vital. And I know there will probably be a few students out there watching this who may have even switched it off by now. And it's always really tough getting across to students, do some planning, do some pre-production work. And I say do some sketches, and they do one sketch and then say I've done it, that's my final piece, that's my idea. I've got a clip of a YouTube video here where someone's developing thumbnails, and you can see the process, and you can see how their ideas have formed and merged into something new, and their artwork is really good because of it. Thumbnails, as they're known, or these tiny little sketches, are really useful for thinking about composition, layout, and the final structure, and getting it all to work together. And that's what I didn't have in this piece because I didn't plan properly. So go along and check out those guys' YouTube videos, they're very useful. And I strongly recommend don't just get stuck in that sort of Blender tutorial mode. Go and see other artists, go and see other graphic designers, and just general creatives, and see what they're doing, and get some ideas from them. So my main message in this episode is to think about your end point, plan exactly where you want to go with your piece. Then you won't get caught up doing minute details and then figure out that was only a tiny part and it's hardly even going to be seen in the scene. I'm often doing that. I've got a tiny little model, spending loads of time doing it, then when it sits in the scene you hardly even see that detail. And that's bad planning from my part. So pre-production or planning, absolutely essential. Maybe draw out little thumbnails like lots of artists do, and make sure you've got that construction in mind before you start. Then you won't get caught up, like I did, in the tiny details, and your workflow will end up being much faster, quicker, and easier. So let me know in the description whether you have these sort of issues, and what you think about these sort of issues, and whether you do planning, and whether you're one of those artists who doesn't like to plan and just go for it and let their artwork emerge. Does it slow you down as an artist, or do you disagree with me? Also, you can get along to the Discord server and chat with me there. The competition deadline is tonight at 12 o'clock. Midnight GMT. It's a Halloween competition, so a Halloween scene. Really impressed with some of the entries so far. There's some fantastic work out there. Looking forward to judging that tomorrow, and you'll get your work put up on the Wall of Fame. Ooh. So look forward to hearing from you, and thanks for watching.